The SANGO Bay area in Kyotera district to the south of the country is a vast expanse of infinite flatness. The landscape is grey and interspersed with green all the way to the far horizon, interrupted by pockets of 4 central forest reserves, plantations, farmlands and homesteads. For long spells, the district, the gateway to Tanzania through the Mutukula border point, was part of Rakai until it was carved out in 2015. Long-haul trucks that ply the Mutukula-Masaka route en route to Kampala have turned the main town, once a sleepy remote outpost, into a fast-flourishing trading center. The proposed East African crude oil pipeline that will transport Uganda's waxy crude oil to the international market via Tanzania's Tanga port snakes through the district's backyard, which could bring more opportunities. But in Bukala A village, Ndolo parish in Kabira sub-county, anxiety and trepidation has gripped communities over the looming eviction from the land for another mega project, oil palm growing. 25-year-old Javira Kayondo has lived here all his life.
We grew up knowing that this land belongs to Sango Bay. Our parents settled on it. Yes, it is true that the land belongs to the government, and government has got an investor. Maybe our country may gain from the project. So many projects have come, and people from other areas have come and benefited from them.
He is staring a bleak future if evicted.
Some of our parents died long time ago, and we grew up knowing that this piece of land is ours. We may not have gotten a chance to ask documents about this land from our parents. So if you just tell me to go away, it will not be fair. We had a meeting with government officials who told us to pack our belongings and go away, that government does not want anything from us, although we have been using this land.
Another resident, Isaac Bigira, who claims his family has lived here for the last 80 years, echoed similar fears.
Government nejange kola registration ku bantu abali kutakalya Sango Bay okuvira ddala ekyebe gyerifa okutuuka ne Kabira gyeriko.
Government recently came and started registering all people on the land right from Mutukula border. They said the exercise was meant to establish the bona fide owners so that they can plan for us. We have not heard from them since.
Bigira is both relieved and pleased the government is taking over the land. For the last decade, he has been at loggerheads with the individuals who had dubiously acquired titles on the government land adjacent to this piece of land.
There are some powerful individuals who behave like small gods. They really tortured us on the land. They killed people, and working with the police made our lives hard, including being charged in court.
In fact,
he, however, implores authorities to consider some of them as bona fide occupants on the land.
We are happy that government is taking over this land. I urge the government to consider some of the people here. They should be given a small portion of the land so that their lives can continue. I have been chairman for 33 years, and I know so many people who have lived here for all their lives.
Kabira is one of the 3 sub-counties along Kakuto and Chebe, comprising of what is commonly known as Sango Bay Estate.
I'm informally informed that we are looking at a project that is taking almost, leaving 70% of what we have as people of Kyotera to us, the Kyoterians, and it's going as a project. Now, as a leader, definitely you would expect me to be a little upbeat, in anticipation of what is coming through. Unfortunately, ever since the process started, we know the structure, the leadership structure in our country. There's always an MP, an area a member of parliament who represents the people's views at the national level. I've never been involved.
85 years ago, the then British colonial administration leased some 59,084 hectares, equivalent to 146,000 acres, to the Indian-owned Sango Bay Estates Limited to undertake, among others, sugarcane growing and timber processing on the land constituting 4 central forest reserves until 1966. According to one online East African Geographical Review journal, Sango Bay Estates Limited attempted numerous unsuccessful ventures, including sisal growing, until 1956, when the main use of the estate was logging for timber. The expulsion of Asians by President Idi Amin in 1972 dealt the last blow to the company's ventures at Sango Bay, never to recover fully. Decades later, in 2012, the government began a process to reclaim the land. However, there were challenges as individuals with political ties had acquired titled land. Last year, government repossessed the land following the green light from the cabinet and the Attorney General's office. During numerous visits by the junior Minister of Lands, Sam Mayanja, recently, he ordered for the cancellation of all the illegal titles, about 10 of them belonging to powerful individuals, and all existing developments razed. At a meeting convened mid-last month by Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, it was resolved that all project-affected persons be assessed with the view to establish bona fide settlers, and the chief government valuer undertakes their evaluation by mid-April 2022. By June, the Sango Bay land, measuring about 27,084 hectares, will be handed over to Bidco Uganda for oil palm growing.
So Sango Bay is suitable. It was found to be suitable, climatic and edaphic suitability for oil palm production. Oil palm as a crop requires a lot of rainfall that is well distributed throughout the year. So the catch is in the distribution. So as I was explaining that when Kalangala we're going to Buvuma, Mayuge Buikwe Mkono, Mayuge Bugiri, and now Masaka, Sango Bay areas, you can see that we're around Lake Victoria Basin. And the reason is that the lake tries to ameliorate the rainfall, so you have a bit of rain most of the time around there, and that's what oil palm requires.
According to projections by the National Oil Palm Project under the Ministry of Agriculture, Uganda needs at least 100,000 hectares or 247,105 acres of oil palm plantations for the country to be self-sufficient. During a news conference at the Uganda Media Center, the Finance Minister, Matia Kasaija, argued that growing the crop in large quantities would serve as an insurance policy against rising prices for household items in the future.
Learn how to turn a disadvantage into an advantage. Turn what appears to be a disadvantage, turn it into an advantage. Now for us, we say one way to government, kakubi. Oriakirabanga a disadvantage, but you turn it into an advantage. Now we are saying, now with these high prices, why if we produce these goods and sold them into the international market, we will get more money. The farmer will become much richer, and all of us as a country will become that much richer. The global shortage of palm oil, sunflower, and soybeans provide an opportunity for Uganda to scale up production of the commodities to replace the imported content. Government has already foreseen shocks that may arise from disruptions in countries where we import raw materials from and embarked on mitigating actions. We have partnered with Bidco to grow palm oil in Kalangala and will provide more land to Bidco and Bukora Limited in Sango Bay to grow more palm oil. In addition, we shall also be working with 40,000 farmers in northern Uganda to grow sunflower and soybean for manufacturing oil.
Palm oil is a highly productive source of edible oil, producing about 10 times more oil per hectare than any other known crop. The crop originated from Africa, and yet most African countries, including Uganda, import palm oil from Malaysia, where the crop was taken from West Africa as an ornamental crop and then developed into a big source of vegetable oil. In terms of annual production, the global oil palm industry is worth about $60 billion, employing 6 million people directly, plus an additional 11 million indirectly. In 2020 alone, Uganda spent $289 million, equivalent to 1 trillion Uganda shillings, on importing 350,000 metric tons of vegetable oils, of which 97% is crude oil palm and its derivatives, raw material for making, among others, soap and cooking oil locally. In 1997, the government and the UN's International Fund for Agricultural Development conceptualized large-scale oil palm growing in Uganda as part of the Vegetable Oil Development Project to address rural poverty by involving smallholder farmers in vegetable oil crops production. 6 years later, in April 2003, government entered into a memorandum of understanding with Bidco Uganda Limited for developing 40,000 hectares of oil palm in a phased manner. The government would provide 26,500 hectares to Bidco for growing the crop, and with smallholder farmers, outgrowers, facilitated to grow oil palm on 13,500 hectares. Oil palm growing project kicked off with 11,000 hectares on Bugala in Kalangala Island. More than 7,500 hectares was allocated for the project on Buvuma Island to the east of Lake Victoria. This, however, left another 15,000 hectares which government is trying to acquire. Besides Sango Bay, the government also plans to extend the crop to other lake basins like Mayuge in eastern Uganda. Koni Magomu, the National Oil Palm Project Coordinator in the Ministry of Agriculture, justified the current plans.
Oil palm is a very interesting crop because it produces 10 times more oil than any oil crop that is known today. So that means it's very efficient in utilizing land. So if you have places where you can grow it well, it makes a lot of sense that you get into it because you use less land to get enough vegetable oils that the country requires.
She said Sango Bay was specifically found more suitable for the crop.
Apart from the fact that it is suitable, the land also belongs to government. So government has taken it over so that we can put it to economic use. And right now, the best economic use is oil palm production because we're spending a lot of money to import, and also because there's an outcry, as you know now, the prices for vegetable oils, for soap have gone high because the international prices are high, and there's very little we can do about it because we import our vegetable oils from Malaysia and Indonesia.
The government also committed to, among others, provide functional water transport to Kalangala and heavy tax incentives, including government paying value-added tax VAT for all Bidco's products from the first year of the project activities and ending after a period of 11 years, that was until 2013. Clause 3 of Article 4 of the Memorandum of Understanding stipulated that the company would then refund the VAT paid by the government with interest over a period of 8 years in 8 equal installments, including accrued interest starting in the 12th year. However, due to the government's failure to provide the balance of 15,000 hectares of land to Bidco, which has now been allocated in Kyotera, it meant that the company cannot pay the VAT and interest. In the financial year 2019 and 2020, the Finance Ministry wrote off 194 billion Uganda shillings and 79.4 billion shillings by June 2021 as VAT paid by Bidco for 17 years between 2003 and 2020. The Auditor General, John Muwanga, in his latest report submitted to Parliament in late January, revealed that the chances of recovering this money by the Finance Ministry are slim, as the proposed project in Kyotera has a long way to go from planting to maturity.
When we start, there's going to be a lot of discussions with the communities. You talked about it. There'll be all kinds of work, surveys will be going on. Then we will start planting, and then you give us another 4 to 5 years then we'll have a factory or factories in place, and we start processing. Because the crop, when you plant it, you need, as I said, you need 3.5 to 4 years for it to reach its maturity. We start harvesting, and the yields keep increasing. After about 8 years, then we'll start seeing a lot of crude palm oil coming out from there.
Across villages in Kyotera, the project has been received with mixed reactions. The Kyotera County Member of Parliament, John Paul Mpalanyi, says their fears are valid.
But we know what we all have been reading about what was happening in Kalangala. If it's a palm oil project, it's important as leaders, we know. I mean, we should be given time to understand so that we ask the pertinent issues. But information is sketchy. And much as informally the project is highly spoken about, but I'm a bit hesitant as the area member of parliament. I'm a bit hesitant to get a little upbeat and be happy about it.
He revealed that leaders at the grassroots have not been involved.
Should know how are we going to benefit from the resource. We seek information. It's not about saying that we don't want the project. It's not about the project anyway. But it's about being open and being straight and involving the right people. Telling people what exactly. Because at the end of the day, if a project comes today, like it is informally being communicated that we are expecting 4,000 people, where are they going to come from? There is no sensitization. It's not about the people who sleep in Chebe or the people who sleep in Kabida, residents of Kabida, Chebe, Kasasao, Kakuto, Mtukula. No, it's about the people of Kyotera. I would want to be part of the project. Be available to the people of Kyotera. Otherwise, you are likely to see people coming from other areas coming to work here because the people in Kyotera have not been involved.
The former resident district commissioner, Moses Dumba, who was redeployed to Kasese during a recent reshuffle moments after this interview, said there's no crisis.
Because so soon the land which is popularly known as SANGO BAY LAND is going to be taken by the investor on behalf of the government to carry out palm oil project, like similar to that one in Kalangala.
He said safety nets have been put in place to handle the project affected persons.
One, registered all of them. They are between 350 to 80 around there. They are going to be considered in such a way that the government valuer is soon coming. We have registered them.
Preliminary estimates place the number of project-affected persons at 10,000. Farthest south in Mutukula Town Council in Kakuto Sub-County at the Uganda-Tanzania border areas, leaders accused government of not consulting widely.
I must put it clear that the level of engagement, involvement in the planning process and the whole thing is very, very limited, especially for us, the local leaders. It is up bottom. They just come to inform you that we are going to do this. We've decided this. But we've not sat and discussed the best way to handle the whole process.
She said that they are worried that the problems beset by oil palm growing areas like Kalangala will be transplanted in the area.
Whatever they do, they say you consult the RDC. It is the RDC's office which is in charge. Yes, we appreciate because the RDC is the president's representative in the district. But still, as local leaders, we need to be in the know. Like recently, they went cut all the plantations of the people from Kabonera. People had nowhere to sleep. People had nowhere to go. They were like in a mess. The LCs called me. I did not have an answer. I did not have any alternative. I did not have anything to do for them. I was also like as confused as they were.
All that we hear is that there's a project that is coming. It has so many opportunities. It's a palm oil project. But we're not being informed exactly in quantitative terms What are these benefits? Can we quantify the benefits? That's a little worrying. I hear the way you hear, at least for you, you've done some bit of ground, investigations. I'm always in the constituency. No one would say that I've never been here. I'm not around.
No, it's not an intentional move for us not to work with the political leadership and the technical leadership, because it's a government project. It's for all of us. It's for the communities, for the leadership. Actually, as you rightly put it, they have to own it. They're the ones to ensure that this project is successful. So it's, as I said, it's preliminary days. It's been the process of ensuring the land is available. And then we start the process of sensitizing and making sure that everybody understands the project. But even then, we are actually working with the district leadership, at least the technical guys, the technical team on ground. We work with the agriculture office, we work with the land office, we work with COW's office, we work with RDC's office, including the LC5 chairperson. So, and so there is no plan to sideline anybody, because it's a government project. It's for everybody that is there. It's actually more for the people on the ground to be a part of this effort. So if there's been any that has been missed, the process of sensitization is, and giving knowledge and getting things moving is now going to really begin.
The development of oil palm plantations in Kalangala and Buvuma has so far been a mixed bag of fortunes, as locals acquired jobs at the expense of a fragile environment. What lessons can be learned by the Kalangala experience to make the Sango Bay palm oil project a success? Only time will tell.